Is this thing on? Hey guys, it's me Chrissy and welcome back to my channel. I don't know how to start these things anymore. It's been a while. But I'm glad to be back and sharing what I've read in 2025. It's kind of late, but if you think about it in Chinese New Year terms, I'm on time. So, let's get into it. So, I'm currently reading Angela Carter's book of fairy tales. This is I'd say, anthology, or just it's basically her gathering a lot of fairy tales from all over the world and she retells it. So I've been rereading like the story of Bluebeard's castle. It's in here but a different version, and like some Cinderella type stuff. And it's almost like different countries or cultures have different versions of like the same stories, which is also very interesting. um but yes, I'm currently reading this and I really like it. I'm going slow because I started it last year and I've been meaning to read it through October, but I didn't finish because towards the end of the year I always end up falling off in terms of reading. So that sucks, but we move on. The next thing I'm reading is Getting to Yes, Negotiating Agreement Without Giving In. This is written by Roger Fisher and William Ury, and it's a revised edition. And I think they added one more author to this, or some contributor. And it's these two like Harvard professors who um, they how do I say this? They it's these two Harvard professors who came up with this negotiation type thing. Man, this is a lot harder than I thought it was gonna be. Anyway, they came up with how to negotiate. So they've or not I mean, negotiation has been around for a while, but it's more of like the how to do it, kind of like step by step, and the finer points of it, like not just business but like between countries and agreements and things. So I actually find it really interesting and really good for my job because I think that I like to supplement fantasy and nonfiction, or fiction and nonfiction together, or have a good mix of both throughout my year, because I know that um, as much as I love being entertained, I also like to learn. So I think that's important. And as a slow reader, it does get a bit challenging to want to read more and faster. But at the same time, I want to enjoy what I'm reading and I want to absorb what I'm reading. So it does take me longer, but I know that, I'm just here for the slow readers. Like this video, if you're a slow reader, we can read slowly together. Okay, so for the first couple of books that these are not in any particular order. Ooh, booktube language. And forgot what it was like to talk for this long. Anyway, these books aren't in any particular order because I can't remember the order. It was last year. So I guess I'll just start with the first stack in front of me. And I finally got to Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Trade paperback I'm gonna keep now since they're going extinct. I really enjoyed this. I love like dark academia stuff with a lot of quotes and a lot of mystery. So I thought it was super cool. And I love that there was a map. Other than that, not a lot to say negative. Oh yeah, there should have just been some trigger warnings at the back of this, just to warn people about some of the stuff here. Otherwise, I thought it was fine. I enjoyed it. I'll probably get the second book. But I have too much to read now. So that's gonna be a while. Next is Carmilla by Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu. Anyway, this was so cool. And there's also like drawings, illustrations. Sorry, that's the word. And it's been a while. Here, I'll just show you this because this one is safe. But very easy to read, or it was edited by Carmen Maria Machado, and she has a really good introduction, which helps if you read it so that you can where the story is taking place and where it's coming from, just for extra context. And I really liked it. Next, I have these three by Yvette Tan. She's a Filipina author, and she does horror short stories. And quite frankly, if you find a way to get Sikihor, Insect Hag, or Waking the Dead, get it. Because this is, they got me out of a reading slump. I thought that like, hey, I'm just not enjoying what I'm reading. Maybe I should give up for a while and come back to it later. But she reignited why I like to read. And what, it's a short story, so I got through it fast, so it helped me mentally think like, oh yeah, I can finish a book. Because at this point, before I got to this, it took me like a month and a half to finish another book, and I can't remember what it was, but it took me a while, and so I felt pretty discouraged. So it wasn't until I got to read Yvette Tan, and I collected everything because a friend of mine gave me one of her books. No, she gave me two, and I collected the last one. And yeah, if you can find a way to get to these, get it. Next is Maya Angelou, The Heart of a Woman. I love her. I just love reading her memoirs. I love reading her story. I love reading anything about her life. She's just so inspiring to me, and I absolutely respect her. And like, it took me a while to get through most of her books because I've been collecting and putting them off, like everything else I do. So I'm actually glad that I made it a point to get to Heart of a Woman. Next is also a poet, Ada Calhoun, Frank O'Hara, My Father and Me. So this is a memoir about the author. You can actually follow her on Instagram. I like her page. And it's so interesting for me to see like people, like when you follow an author and then you see who they talk about in their books, especially if it's a memoir, and I'm like, oh, it's like, oh, tea. But it was very interesting because like she really had this sort of good but somewhat distant relationship with her dad, and she got to know him going through his works about trying to make a biography for Frank O'Hara. So that was enlightening. It's also a pretty quick read as well. I think it's under 300 pages. Next is Yukio Mishima. He's perfect. He's great. Every time I see a Yukio Mishima, I just grab it because I know I'm gonna love it. I know I'm gonna read it. I look forward to reading what he writes. And this was a beautiful love story about two teens in a fishing village who fall in love, and then it's forbidden, but then they find a way, one of those. This was one of the most calming books that I've read. It's just peaceful and it's soothing. I don't know, to me that's just what it was, and I really enjoyed like getting that version of him in this book. Next, psychology in bite-sized chunks. So you have basically different kinds of psychological ways of thinking and stuff like that, smooshed into one book based in bite-sized chunks. I know that not everything smooshed. I keep saying smooshed. Not everything squeezed into a digestible piece, almost like a short, if it was a reel, can be explained, because I know that some topics go deeper, but in essence, it helped me understand different ways of thinking, why people think this way, why people think that way. And it's really helpful when you deal with people a lot, especially if you work and it's like customer facing. Next, Hollywood's Eve Babbitt's and the Secret History of LA by Lily Annalik. If you know Eve Babbitt, she is such a queen. Lily Annalik wrote kind of like Eve's, I would say, biography in this, and then she wrote how hard it was for her to gain Eve's trust to start, and I get that, and I understand she wasn't an easy person to get along with, but I also really enjoyed that she worked hard to get this book done, and you can really tell how much she admires Eve Babbitt. That's pretty much all I can say about that. Next is by Bibliolepsy by Gina Apostle. This is about in the time of Marcos, there is a girl who tries to start romantic relationships with authors. I think because her father was also an author comic, and then like they passed away in a shipwreck, and she has to deal with like her grandma raising them and stuff. It was a while back that I read this. I can't remember everything, but I just know I liked it. The 10th by Margaret Atwood. This is a collection of short essays in the genre of her previous books. So I think a lot of some of her other books, she wrote essays about them and put them in here. So, because some of them did not entirely make sense to me at the time when I was reading it. So maybe after I read the rest of her books, it would make more sense to me. But I'm just being honest here, because like that's all I remember. I should have gotten to like this. I should have gotten like halfway through the year first, and then done this wrap up. But here we are. So next is Slouching Towards Bethlehem by Joan Didion. This is a book featuring all of her essays, and I think this was when she was still writing for. I can't remember, but she was still writing for a certain publication or something, and this was her writing about her journeys trying to interview people, which I've tried to do also. I tried to like learn from her because I also interview people sometimes for art exhibits, and just finding out how she goes about that is pretty interesting. Next is Over the Woodward Wall by Deborah Baker, if you know her as Shannon Maguire. This was unfortunate because I know this could be good, but this is apparently a story about a story from one of her other books, and I didn't know that when I picked it up. So I think I need to read the main story before I get back to this, because I was just kind of lost, and it turns out it was, you know how books have stories inside them to help the main story along, so this was kind of one of those. I wish that I knew that going in, but I'm sure I think it would be better if I had read that first, but I can come back to it. Next is Data Analytics Basics for Managers. So it's by the Harvard Business Review, and it was pretty good, especially for those who work with I could apply some of it to marketing, but other than that, it's gonna take a reread because this is a lot. But it was very helpful. So I think like if you need to do data analytics or something, this could help you. Next is Everyone Communicates But Few Connect by John C. Maxwell. This is a great book if you want to build influence in the workspace or to get your point across better when you have like a job or something, but not just a job, but like everyday life. So John Maxwell has been very good at being able to like find these things and explain them better. So at least for me, I'm able to connect better with people now, I hope. And I've been trying to implement like how to work better with people since I've read that. The last book is Rouge by Mona Awad. Look at that, it's gorgeous. This how do I explain this? It's so I think this was my second Mona Awad book because the first one was Bunny. Is it? Wait, let me double check. Yes, the first one was Bunny, and then this is my second, and I just love it. It was so good. I love this because I can relate, like, not in terms of like, losing memory just to look young, but more like I understand like all of the terminologies for like, especially now in this age of skincare, and like, oh, do this, do that, this cleanser, that foam, that serum. I don't know, do we still use foams? I don't know. So it was also very interesting because they always called it like a treatment, and it turns out it's more than just getting a treatment and getting the most amazing glowing skin of your life. But yeah, I would just let other people, like, if you read this or gonna read this, I'm not gonna spoil it. I just know that I liked it a lot. It was fun to read, actually. So that's it. These are all the books I read last year. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of them and we can have a discussion, or not. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you for sticking around, and I hope it won't be too long before I see you again next time. Bye.